Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And it's Friday. I don't have much to say this week simply because I am still somewhat processing my emotions, not just on post-election emotions, but overall, just because I'm back in therapy and I am processing the things that I'm learning in therapy, which is interesting because as somebody who's been in therapy as long as I've been, um, I'm just always kind of like in pre-shock, I guess, or I'm in post-shock that there's still so much to learn. And so I'll never forget, and I've said this on countless times in different episodes, my very first therapist, when I said, how long is this going to take for me to figure this thing out? And he said, therapy is like a relay race. You take what you need and you move on. And so while I've moved on from processing my current trauma, and, processing about to be divorced and grieving making the right decisions, like while I've moved past that, I am now in a place where I am dealing with the anxiety that is coming up in my body and in my mind from things that have happened to me in my childhood. And being able to see, understand, and know how the things that my children have seen me go through, whether I recognize that they've seen them or not, that they will in turn have their own struggles with some of those things. Things like people pleasing, things like going into a fawn state, the fright and flight and all of those types of things. But with that being said, I could talk about some good things that have happened this week. I won the tickets to go to the Jamaican Jerk Festival, my first time winning a radio station contest. As I like to listen to the radio when I'm not listening to the 3 same songs or the 6 same songs in rotation. Like the Glorilla album does have me in a chokehold, as it does. But when I'm not listening to that, I'm listening to the radio. And on this particular day, I actually wasn't even supposed to be in the car, but I forgot something. I was like, let me go run and get what I said I was going to get from the store. And it was like, be caller number 9. And I have 2 phones. So I was just calling and it was ringing. And I was like, you know what? If it's ringing, that must be good. And I got through and it's like, you're caller number 9. And I was like so excited because my children had just asked me, are we going? And it was the first, last year was the first time that we went and they really enjoyed themselves. So I hope the weather is good and it doesn't force us to leave early because it was so hot last Thanksgiving. Not to be that person, but global warming, we're supposed to have at least some sort of coolness at this point, pending that the hurricanes can stay at bay, but we kind of do need the rains to keep them at bay. Anywho, with that being said, I don't know if I've mentioned before here on the podcast, but I started a garden a while back, earlier this year, and it's coming along. I'm hoping to harvest some sweet potatoes so I can make sweet potato pie. I have some tomatoes growing back there. I have carrots that my son planted. I'm growing some cherry tomatoes, cucumber, and my aloe plants are growing really, really good because aloe is good for, my daughter has eczema and things like that. But moving on, my children have my son has this checklist, this accountability list where he has to earn points, and he's been doing pretty okay with that. It's working. They're back in therapy. Anything that's dealing in divorce side of my life, we will pick back up in the new year. After a short, brief conversation with my lawyer about that. The year's coming to a close. I signed my first contract for a speaking engagement based on my background as a doctor of health science. So I'm excited about that. I really see things coming together for me in different ways, in different pieces, in different parts, in different areas of my life. I have so many different areas of my life. Like getting on Black Girl Say Something and being able to chit chat and really just say the things that I need to say, and people are listening and it's encouraging, and I'm just a regular girl that's growing and glowing, and not that I'm without anxiety or post-traumatic stress. And these people have said I have chronic PTSD. And it's like, oh, chronic means it's been ongoing for a while. So that kind of shifted my mindset with that. But I'm just looking forward. I don't know about anybody else, but it's like, can 2024 has been the longest episode ever with so many twists and turns. And for me, this year started out so hectic, full of so much. Like, aside from my daughter getting injured, it was like the job was horrible. You know, I was a professor and I left that for my mental health. And there's a possibility that I might go back because I'm a woman of my word. Then they're meeting my demands, right? And so for me personally, as a Black woman who has, somebody said, let me pull my thoughts together. There was a post that I saw where somebody said, we've all, as a Black woman, we all can think of a time where we were qualified for the position and they still passed us up on it. And that hits me because I got to a place where I said, you know what, if I just move around like white men do, with the audacity, with the ability to say, you know what, I know I'm qualified to be here, so I'm just going to move in that, and I'm not going to give too much, and I'm not going to do too much. I'm going to do what they ask me to do, but also I'm going to make demands and I'm going to negotiate. And learning that particular skill has allowed me the opportunity, especially where I'm at in my life, to hold a doctorate degree, to hold so much experience. I've been in the healthcare field. I'm 37 now. I've been in the healthcare field since I was 18. I jumped off the porch out of high school and into the healthcare field. So with all of that, and also I'm a very present learner. So even as a phlebotomist, you couldn't, not that I never stepped on like the nurse's toes, but nurses would come to me and ask me questions because I was I like to learn. I like to process the knowledge, you know, and I never wanted to be a nurse, but it was like to get in, get out, draw the blood. Then I became an optician working with optometry students. Like, I worked at some smaller opticals where I learned the business, and then now I have my own business and I'm thriving and I'm doing what I need to do. And I've taken all of the good that I've learned and put that into my business, and then I created a guide, and now I'm teaching other people how to do it. And I have a lady who I'm mentoring, a few people actually who have signed up for my mentor program. But with all of that being said, I have come to learn my worth. And I think it goes far beyond, you know, what happens in your family structure, what happens to you in your childhood. You get to a place where you kind of lose sight of what you're worth. And that shows up in how you allow these jobs to treat you, or how you allow the place where you call your career to treat you, and how you show up for that. And getting past the space, of fear and asking for what you actually want. Because that's the whole premise of Black Girl Say Something. A Black girl who has something to say is a powerful Black girl. A Black girl who speaks up is a powerful Black girl. And, you know, eventually my daughter will listen back to these episodes and she'll be like, wow, I had no clue. Like, in the midst of everything, this is what you had going on. But I maintained poise and I maintained growing, and I was able to get the help that I need and recognize when to ask for help and when to say I don't know, and don't be the end all be all to everything, and just work through some things. So anywho, with all of that being said, be encouraged. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. And if something was said that encouraged you, I ask that you share this episode with at least one person. Remember, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something wherever you listen to podcasts every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's not forget, I'm over on YouTube. I've been going live over there a little bit more lately. So I'll leave the link to subscribe to our YouTube in the description of this episode, of course. And you can follow us on TikTok and like us on Facebook. Thank you for listening.